Pepin.
Yo, 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 yo.
You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about Jonestown.
What the fuck is Jonestown?
It's that thing with the cult, with the people and the Kool-Aid.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Remember when he busted in through the wall and he was like, oh yeah!
That was absolutely the
Jonestown.
best episode of Family Guy I've ever seen.
Wait, you watch Family Guy?
Well, that couple episodes, it was pretty good, especially the episode with the chicken, the fight, and they started punching each other. It was amazing.
Well, I think we should talk about the Kool-Aid Man.
All right, we need to talk.
Is there a Kool-Aid Man? Can we save this? Is there a Kool-Aid Man cult?
I wish.
I haven't read about one yet.
If there is, I want it. I call it now.
Just write it down now and you'll find one.
Yeah, do we want to just add that to our cult?
Yeah, let's just do that. Oh, right, we have our own
on
cult.
April Fools, drop a fake cult.
No, we have. Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, can I do the Kool-Aid cult? Yes. Oh, yeah.
Great.
Okay, let's do this. Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I am here once again with my best friend, Nathan Pepin. How you doing today, Nathan?
Yo, I'm doing well. How about you, yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for asking. You always do a little dance every time you introduce, and I love it.
Yeah, I have to get excited for my intro, because this is where I pretend...
It's full body
Yeah.
excitement.
I mean, this is where people know the real me.
That's fair. That is the real you.
That little dance?
Yeah, that little dance.
That's it.
Now you guys are in the secret club.
Awesome.
That's the real him. We are joined today by the ladies from We Are the Worst. Maggie, Dreia, how are you guys doing today?
Great.
Oh.
So much better than you are, Dreia.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming back on.
Yeah.
Last time you guys were on, amazing experience. We had to have you back 5 minutes later.
I didn't even get to change, guys. This is important.
I'm still in the makeup from last time.
That's fair. I am as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like your makeup today.
Thank you. It's subtle, but it's there. And
Yeah.
that's what matters.
It's
That is-
natural glam, I would say.
It's all the beauty rest. So today we're talking about something you guys are pretty familiar with. And by that, I mean, you're the experts. So you're going to teach us some stuff. And then Nate's going to know a creepy amount about it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
And it's cults.
Yay.
Yeah, what made me think about this is I listened to one of your episodes about the sex cult.
Yep.
And it was very...
Well, when you say sex cult, you should be more specific, because what we're finding is the themes of cults are aliens, sex, or
Drugs.
the end of the world.
You forgot drugs.
Oh, sometimes drugs. Or it's a combination of all of those things.
Yeah.
So if you say sex cult, you've got to be very specific.
Okay. So I've listened to one of your episodes about cults, which happen to be about sex. And...
See, you guys don't understand. Sex is the important part of why he's bringing it up.
Right. Okay.
Honestly, that's why I clicked on that one individual podcast. But I'm going to be fair there.
Okay.
But I just listened to it, and I was just thinking, I can't relate to these mentalities involved. I can get how... Okay, so there's, I listened to a book by Sam Harris, and he was talking about how there's certain, meditation cults, and someone gets very sexual. And I can understand that, because they're oh, you have to open your chakras, and, you have to, meditate on the sexual pleasure, and part of this is doing this, and then they end up having sex with the leader because it's about, awakening to their higher powers. That I get, but if it's just, a generic, we're descended from aliens, and you have to, be the next race of humans to be... attributed to these aliens, creatures, overlords. I mean, that's very different than the more, I don't want to say sensible, but the different kind of sex cult.
Speaking of the meditation thing, I just want to jump back to that, because I recently watched a YouTube video of an interview with a guy who got out of a sex cult that was meditation based, where you basically sat around meditating, stroking women's downstairs. That was all that they would do.
That was their meditation.
That was their meditation.
And what were they getting out of the meditate? Well, what were they supposed to be?
I don't know, because this dude, he claims he got out of the cult and he's not part of it anymore. But the way he was talking about it was
I wish I was.
I'm pretty much still in the cult. He was like, no, it's fine, it's not a bad thing. And I'm like, it's a cult, it's probably a bad thing.
I gotta ask, what are the girls doing? Are they just like lying there?
Yeah.
Like what's happening?
Yeah,
they're just
like, lying
lying
there.
in like a row.
Well, they have Game Boys, so.
Oh yeah. One of them's reading a Bible.
So I'm confused about this cult because who's this cult catering to? Is it the guys, or is it all guys who are like feeling the girls, or is it girls feeling girls? Like how's this working?
Yeah. Do they volunteer?
It was a very short. So I was more interested in a woman who had escaped from the advanced teaching institute, which we've talked about in the Quiverful episode, which is about, it's very fundamental Christian. And so I really love learning about fundamental Christian cults. So I was more focused on that woman and the abuse she went through. And then every once in a while it popped up with like this dude talking about stroking women's downstairs. And I was like, okay, but like, let's get back to this other woman. So that's my
What she's trying to say is she doesn't know.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was focusing on
You guys were on the same wavelength, so it's okay.
which yes. We have a psychic connection.
So what is it about cults that makes me find it interesting? Also makes you guys find it interesting as well. Because what aspect is there to that? Is it the unrelatability, or is it something else?
Can we answer that by saying what our favorite cult is, or what the one that sticks out in our mind the most is? Because I don't know if I want to say I have like a favorite. I feel like that's not what I'm.
There's so many to pick from.
Okay, that too.
It's okay to say favorite, because the people that are our people will understand you.
Okay, fair enough. So fuck ours.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll have some cross contamination.
No, definitely. We've talked about some things. So
The people that you want to be your people will understand.
that I like. I love that. So what's you guys' favorite then?
Happy Science.
Okay.
Most useless cult out there.
Okay. So please tell me. I'm real interested.
They didn't do shit, did they?
They did jack shit. So all they do is basically give this person their money and then they get anime back. And
Anime?
Anime.
Okay,
about,
that sounds like normal business with extra steps.
and you sign up for it and basically you give him your money. And you have to pretend you're happy.
Wait.
And that's it.
What is this shitty anime?
It is a shitty anime. Guess who watched it?
Wait, it's only one? It's not like a
No.
box of the month or something.
No, it's just this
Subscription
one
service.
really bad anime about aliens taking over the world. You give this guy money so the aliens won't take your house to this guy. And he's like, you have to be happy no matter what, no matter the situation. And then you get like a card stamp that's like, now you're part of the happy cult.
So I don't really get how that's a cult though, because it's number one, this sounds like some guy selling an anime, right?
No, but he's fucking good at it.
He's so good at it. His
It
pamphlets
changes your
and
life.
shit. Yeah.
and then he gets on like an email list or just like joins a membership, right?
So the headquarters is in Japan, France, and Missouri.
Well, the
And
three
Missouri.
big spots.
Missouri is a very bustling hub of business.
Of anime
And
specifically.
How can you not like that cult? I'm sorry.
That's
I
a
think
pretty-
it's amazing.
That's a pretty good call.
Yeah.
You like the tamer cults.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the weird ones.
Yeah.
So you get anime and threats of death for money. Is it obscene amounts of money?
The aliens technically have tentacle sex.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
Oh.
that too.
Is that a part of being in the subscription service, or is that just like a factoid about space?
It's just a fun fact.
Like, now you know more about aliens than most people. They like having tentacle sex.
Do the aliens have the tentacles to have sex, or do they find something with tentacles?
Yes.
Okay.
I blocked most of it out, so I don't remember. Sorry, guys.
That's a really fair response.
You covered that cult a long time ago too, so I
I
don't
know.
remember.
It's still my favorite.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite?
I
Maggie?
have so many favorites, but my favorite right now is the Rajneeshis.
Okay. What's that? That sounds Russian.
No, they're Indian.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So Bagram Rajneesh founded it. He opened up a ashram in India where a bunch of like Western people went and paid him a bunch of money so that they could have orgies and beat the shit out of each other. Not at the same time, although sometimes. And India was like, get the fuck out. So they bought
Wait, a whole country kicked them? How many people were in it? The country's like, nah, you gotta go.
There was enough to start a town.
Oh, okay.
So India was like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they bought a plot of land in Oregon.
As you do.
Yep, next to the town of Antelope. And the town of Antelope had 45 people in it.
Okay. Not for long.
It was a big clash. So the Rajneeshis wanted to change the name of the town to Rajneeshpuram. They started like taking over the town, having just sex everywhere, and it was bananas. Yeah. Bagram Rajneesh took a vow of silence at one point, and so this woman named Ma Anand Sheila, took over and was like the voice of him. And Ma Anand Sheila was a fucking sociopath and tried to rig the elections in Oregon to get them to be in her favor and in the cult's favor. And when that didn't work, she decided to poison an entire town by contaminating salad bars in different restaurants with salmonella.
Jesus.
That's my favorite part.
What about that makes it your favorite?
Because it's just so fucked up. Like, who just thinks about, you know what? I'm just going to contaminate an entire town.
Yeah.
Who thinks like that?
And so she tried to rig the elections by busing in homeless people from different parts of the country. And the law in Oregon at that time said that if you lived in Oregon for, I think, was 20 days and you planned on staying in Oregon, you were allowed to vote.
Oh.
So she bussed in all these people, then put antipsychotics in their beer because they were mentally, a lot of homeless people are mentally ill, and she wasn't prepared to actually give them the help that they needed. So she just put antipsychotics in their beer, and then when, shit started going downhill because she bussed in a bunch of people that had mental health issues and she wasn't prepared to help them, she was like, oh, okay, goodbye, and kicked them all out. So Oregon then had a huge homeless person problem. On top of her poisoning the fuck out of this city. Luckily, no one died.
Oh, okay. So she wasn't particularly good at salad bar poisoning.
No. And then she got deported. And I believe, did Bagram go to jail? I think Bagram went to jail. So it doesn't exist anymore, but it's fucking bonkers. And there is a great 6-part documentary on Netflix called Wild Wild Country, all about it.
Yes, it's really good.
And do you happen to know who produced that?
I wish I did.
That's a really obscure question. I just know like there's a lot of stuff.
Oh,
like who does most of the cult
it's
stuff?
the Duplass, Mark Duplass brothers.
You
I
nailed
believe.
it. Awesome. Okay.
I only know that because I like him from The League.
Listen, where your sources come from don't matter as long as you're right, right? Nathan, do you have a favorite cult?
I can't say I know that much about cults. Like, I hear stories about them, like on your podcast, for instance. I know a lot more about religions, and maybe that's a little controversial because I kind of see a lot of religions as being cults, but just cults which are more mass and audience. That's not like a super like uncommon opinion, but this is not really a cult, I'm gonna say, but have you guys heard of Satanism?
Oh, yeah.
We talk about that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So Satanism is kind of like a mock cult, or it's like a mock religion. Like it's a religion that's, a religion, air quotes, which is making fun of religion in a way.
I really like Satanism.
They're actually really nice.
Yeah.
Someone clip that.
But I was first exposed to it in high school, where someone looked up the tenets of Satanism, being edgy, and then we read through them, and they're all just like common sense, just like nice things, like just things that are good people,
like equality and freedom of speech, and I like it a lot. I also really like when Satanists on the basis of freedom of speech and freedom of religion will put up like giant altars to Satan and shit in the middle of like very Christian towns. And like they're like, you can't do anything because freedom of religion. And all of these Christians are like, what? Oh no, Satan.
I think it's like honestly just like a troll religion.
Yes.
But the other thing about it too is, I mean, then there's different like aspects and different kind of people who have certain beliefs, but I know some of them actually try to get into the more ceremonial kind of like religious aspects. Like the founder, was it Mark LeVay, or am I thinking someone else?
I don't know that much about it.
But the founder got super like popular. He showed up on these kind of things, and he would do these like, he dressed like super like classically demonic might be the word. I don't know, like had these robes on, and he'd do these like crazy ceremonies and these speeches and stuff. But everything he was saying was just super rational and just like very like down to earth. But some of them like really embraced like the religious ceremony, and maybe even really embrace like say the satanic ceremony, like lighting candles and kind of like drawing weird stuff like that, but they don't actually believe it does anything, but they're embracing like the certain ceremonial aspects of religions, but also like Catholicism. Like I've been to like a Catholic funeral or two, and those funerals are just amazing, like the pipe organs and the scents and just all the imagery that's there. And they kind of try to capture the same thing, and well, some of them to see that stuff is stupid, and they just like the tenets. But it's not really a cult because it's kind of like a pseudo cult, or it's a a mock cult. But
well, they don't have like a centralized leader. They're not detrimental to their population. They don't isolate people. Yeah. Like,
if anything, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
They're really nice people.
Yeah. And their tenets actually oppose all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the point is not to be like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like an anti-cult maybe. I don't know the way to put it.
Yeah, no, I think but I like it. I like it a lot. And to like go back to the ritual thing that you were talking about, where they don't necessarily believe in the rituals, I think it's more of like a meditation type thing, because like ritual stuff can be very meditative.
Yeah. That's kind of like with a lot of Buddhist type stuff, especially Zen Buddhism. I think in Japan, they have this whole thing with the tea ceremony, and they spend all this time like preparing tea and drinking it and just not talking or something. I forget what it is exactly, but there's a whole aspect to it instead of like a religious thing for them. But it's the meditative aspects that they are trying to gain and garner. It's not necessarily like the actual tea. Like the tea is the tea ceremony is an end to that mean,
right?
As opposed to being the end in itself.
It's like a symbolism to whatever they're doing culturally.
Right. Meter, what is your favorite cult?
I don't know many cults, so I would probably I'd either pick Jonestown or Manson. Was Manson's a cult?
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
So can you? I don't know the story well enough. Can one of you tell the story of Manson and like how his whole cult thing went?
I hate it, so no.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know all of it, so I would need help if I was going to do it.
Yeah, so my thing is I don't talk about Charles Manson and I don't talk about Ted Bundy because they are both fuckfaces that have been romanticized to a really high degree, and I don't think that they deserve any more press.
Interesting.
But we can say that he was a groomer. We can say that.
Yeah,
his cult. He did groom his cult.
Also, I do suggest if you want to learn more about it and you want to learn about it through podcast, listen to it's a multi-part episode of Last Podcast on the Left. They do a very, very good job. They've done their research. And I'm sorry, I'm not plugging somebody like less known because everybody fucking knows Last Podcast on the Left. I feel like.
No, I've heard about them a lot lately. I think they did a live show locally recently, and I know some people who went and like loved it, and they're doing amazing things.
Yeah, I have to be in a certain mood to listen to them because they are very in your face.
Fair.
But their research is fan-fucking-tastic. Like, they don't do the Cliff's Notes versions. They, like, get into it. They read actual books.
Damn. Yeah, that's super.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but they did a very, very good episode on Charles Manson.
Fair enough. I think he was just, like, super charismatic.
Yes.
Like, I've seen videos of him in jail, like, when he's literally, like, he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And, like, he had me being like, some of what he's saying like kind of makes sense though, and I'm like, what the fuck am I saying right now?
Sympathize with them.
Straight up, like
Yeah.
all the stuff about like the Earth and all that bullshit.
That's cult leaders though. So I was watching that Netflix documentary on Rajneeshis, and Benjamin always half watches television shows with me. Usually he's on his computer while I'm watching TV.
Benjamin, your husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, just checking.
So he'll watch halfway with me. And Ma Anand Sheila, they gave her, because she's alive and not arrested, so they went to her and interviewed her, and she's talking, and Ben like walks in, he looks at the TV, and he's like, who's that? And I paused it and told him like everything that she did, and he's like, that nice lady? That nice lady did that? And I'm like, yeah, because she's a fucking sociopath, and she can convince you that she's not a fucking sociopath. So like it was, and there were parts where I was like starting to fall into the trap and be like sympathetic, and I was like, wait a minute, no, she poisoned a city, get the fuck out of here.
That's so fucked. It's like oh man, it's on such a different level, like a whole city.
Yeah.
Like that takes orchestration. It takes multiple people being involved. Like that's like a big, and didn't actually succeed in killing anybody.
Yeah.
So like,
No, they
It was a good try.
they would take like spray bottles to the salad bars and just fucking spray the salad with salmonella, which seems just cartoonish.
it
almost.
kind of does. Yeah. Wait, where did they get the bottled spray bottle salmonella?
They had a lab.
Okay.
Okay.
A salmonella lab.
Yep.
Was it? Did they just go and like buy a turkey?
I'm not, I don't know exactly their process. Cause I know I'm on a list somewhere
Okay.
for the things that we look up, but I didn't want to be like on a list.
The list.
So like if I'm looking up how to make fucking salmonella, I feel like that's going to get me on the list.
Wait,
That's
is this
when the
something you can
FBI
make?
agent. Yeah. Don't get on the list.
No, I think it might be worth it to be on the list now. That's fucked up. I kind of just want to know like how easy it is.
So something that people tell me is that cult leaders are very charismatic, which I believe. I believe that people follow them and everything. So that's obvious to me, but it's not clear to me that most people would follow them. Like, if you know what I mean. So like people talk about, I forget what that guy is, but there's some serial killer out there who, like, this lady wrote a book about him who like was in his office right next to him.
Ted Bundy.
That was Ted Bundy, yeah.
Okay, so people
And
was,
the book's called The Stranger Beside Me.
okay. People say that you would never know he was a serial killer when you met him. I don't know if that's true. I feel like maybe most people didn't, but let's say with cult leaders. Okay, I'm just trying to apply the same logic here. Like, someone might say that you might get really sucked in by this cult leader, but I think that most people probably wouldn't. It's just like the 5% of people who are affected. It's kind of like gambling or alcoholism. Like, most people can, say, gamble and not get addicted, but that small percentage of people who get addicted, like, they get super addicted. I feel like that might be the thing, but because I feel like if I came across a cult leader, I would have no chance of getting sucked into them.
Well, it depends. If this person was your friend, you would listen to your friend, and then they start grooming you. They start telling you different things, and you start understanding where they're coming from. And you're like, yeah, I definitely want to do that. You know, going into someone's house and killing them because they didn't believe in X, Y, and Z, and aliens are coming down because you've been with that friend for so long that you understand where they're coming from. It happens.
It starts very small.
Yeah.
So with Heaven's Gate, for example,
Is that a cult?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
The leader of the cult was very, like, he was very into science fiction, and also very into religion, and he was very charismatic. And so he basically started small, and he preyed on people that, it was in the like late 80s, early 90s. So this was like Star Trek people, and kind of people that were into computers, and he kind of preyed on them because they felt that they were kind of on the fringes of society. And he started very, very small with seminars. And then those seminars became,
I think now they call them cons.
exactly. Yeah.
You're saying he picked the nerds.
Yeah, he picked the nerds.
Yeah, straight up.
But but they were smart. They were normal human beings that wouldn't necessarily get sucked into a cult because he started small with these seminars, and they were like, "Yeah, what you're saying sounds great. Like,
It appeals to them.
This appeals to me. This makes sense." And then those seminars turned into week-long things, and then those week-long things turned into camping in the middle of Oregon because you're on the run from the police, and then
That's where you kind of lose me a bit.
okay,
But they don't necessarily know, right?
because it starts so small.
But we
it's
don't-
normalized. It's all normalized because it's you don't automatically go 0 to camping in Oregon because you're on the run from the police. You go you go very, very gradually, and you don't notice that these things are changing. And then by the time you're like, shit, I need to get
methodical.
out of here, you have been isolated from your family and friends. You don't have any money, and you believe that you can't be anything without this cult leader, like that this cult is everything, because the way he has these charismatic sociopaths know how to talk to people and know how to like manipulate them into getting this new way of thinking. So you listen to people that have escaped cults, and you're like, holy shit, you were like a regular person. You were smart. You like you would probably see through somebody if they started their bullshit at 50 as opposed to 5. But if they're starting at 5 and amping gradually up to 50, you're not going to fucking see it.
Right. So I can see that to some degree. I'm still trying to put myself in that position of getting sucked into a cult, which the only way I can think about this, like for myself, is like maybe this is not good, like a direct analogy, but imagine I start hanging out with some people and they start doing some slightly deleterious things, and like I don't know, maybe they like don't recycle their bottles and stuff.
Right.
And then, it kind of just starts amping up from there, and they get me to comply with that, and then it keeps going worse and worse and worse, and all of a sudden, I don't know, I'm like pushing grandmothers off their wheelchairs.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
actually
it.
it.
Yeah. So if you get into, because you get what do you call it? Influenced by the people around you. And so if you're with people who are not fantastic, you will start to either normalize their not fantasticness. There always has to be somebody in that group that's like a conscience. Or more than one person that's a conscience. You can't have a bunch of sociopaths together. Not that the people that are joining cults are sociopaths, but if you have one sociopath in charge, then you're fucked.
Well, and usually that sociopath will push out the other sociopaths too.
Yeah.
So they manipulate and what do we call that? Isolate them from their other friends that could possibly have that influence.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of cults are distributed systems as well, because it's not necessarily the leader who is the main mechanism of action. Like they are a mechanism, a major mechanism, but it's also the people who are her followers that kind of enforce the contingency within the cult. Like they keep people from leaving.
So it's very rank and file, and so there's a cult called Colonia Dignidad, where no one was allowed to talk to each other when they were in the compound, because if you talked to each other, you could learn that other people aren't happy, and so you could plan to get out. So that's how, like, some kind of cult leaders will isolate you so much like that, where you can't even talk to the members of the cult, or they will turn each other against each other, in like totalitarian regimes where neighbors are turned on neighbors. It's kind of like that, but on a smaller scale.
So is the comparison there that a lot of totalitarian, I can't say that, those kind of regimes are, say, cults in a way? Like maybe like North Korea, for instance. I know there's a lot of cult-like aspects to that, but is there an inherent sort of cult-like dynamic in play, or is that not there?
I would say that probably. I would say that there are, I wouldn't call it a cult because it's an entire country.
Yep.
But it does have cult-like aspects. And earlier, before we were recording, we were talking about how cults kind of take on aspects of abusive relationships. So I think that cults are on a more medium-sized scale, where, you can have a very small-scale abusive relationship, then cults, then countries.
Meter, do you think you would be susceptible to like a cult?
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna start cult all the fucking time.
You are very charismatic.
Oh, I appreciate that. I don't feel like I am though. That's the thing.
See, back in the day in high school, you talked about your religion, meterism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've had some conversations. I have like a weird opinion of you, I think, because it's like you tell me that you like people to worship you and all this and that, and like I don't see that being as the meter I see. Maybe it's because like I don't see why anybody would worship you.
That's fair. But you don't think any of that's kind of tongue in cheek?
Well, I don't. Like you tell me like you're dating a girl and you said that she was like super into you, like way too into you, just singing your praises all the time, and how you loved it, and you kind of felt like awkward because you were like kind of influencing that behavior and kind of perpetuating it.
Wait. How was I perpetuating? I don't even know. Okay, go on. How was I perpetuating?
Because you kept on staying with her and you encouraged her to keep praising you. So she really liked praising you.
This doesn't sound like me, Nate.
We had this conversation like a while back.
Okay, go on.
And so when you were telling me that, I'm like, this doesn't sound like meter. This is kind of weird. Like it's kind of like, I don't know. I see you only from the front, but I didn't know you had like a behind. Like you had this other face to yourself. And so that's the way. Because I was kind of skeptical when you were talking to me about this as well. Because I'm like, is he being serious? I'm not, or is he just like way overanalyzing this?
Well, I feel like there's an implication there that something I was doing was nefarious.
No,
That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like you were calling him two-faced.
Yeah.
Even.
No,
that's definitely how I feel, which, I mean, if that's the case, then that's cool, but I want to talk about that.
No, I'm not saying anything was nefarious. What I'm saying is that I have my perception of you, and then what you're saying about yourself with this relationship did not fit into my perception of you. Right?
Which is negative.
No, that's not negative. How's that negative?
So maybe
I'm just joking.
Are we starting a fight between them?
Yeah.
We're breaking you guys up.
I think this is going to be a fight.
I'm
First off, I honestly don't remember what you're talking about, so we'll have to talk about that off air.
Oh.
Like, who are we talking about?
I kind of forget. Oh, okay. Was it?
Okay.
Was it your girlfriend?
This is. I'm sorry. This is getting awkward. For me, who are we talking about? Okay, fair enough.
We're gonna move on from this. Because I thought this was gonna be a simple point, but I feel like I brought something into this where I didn't anticipate.
Fair. I feel attacked, and that may not be the intention, but that's how I feel.
I apologize. I didn't mean to be any attacking. I'm not sure how I attacked, but obviously I did, and I'm a little confused.
Your example was so good, like I don't even see that as myself.
Okay, so,
Next level.
So I had a conversation with somebody.
This is good. I like this. Tell me about this dirtbag.
This is what I remember, but yeah, anyway, I don't see myself becoming like a cult leader. I can't see myself joining a cult, but I could also see the possibility of slipping into those kind of things. And if people started following everything I was saying, I would just be a little creeped out. Like, just stop doing that. Like, stop following me. Like, and so is it when someone becomes a cult leader, is that about, say, their self-praise or?
Oh, they love themselves.
They do.
They want it.
Yeah,
They
for sure.
absolutely
Is that your ideal outcome?
Yeah. So we have a cult.
Okay.
It's called a cat cult.
A cat cult?
And basically, if you enjoy cats or dogs and want to
Or
do whatever the
llamas.
fuck you want to do, you can be part of our cult.
So
That's it.
Wait.
how's that a cult?
Good question.
We made it.
Wait,
and we're calling it a cult.
What are the things that you need in order to be a cult? Like money, right? People have to give you things.
So that's our Patreon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Charismatic leaders.
Oh, no, that's her. That's not me.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm the leader.
You're the leader.
Okay, this is a lot of responsibility. All of a sudden,
I'm just in the background farming, so leave me alone.
no, you're my
guys.
second in command.
Damn it.
That's a great cover, though.
All
You're
right.
my Ma Anand Sheila.
Oh, perfect.
Except you're not going to poison anybody. I mean,
That look on her face right now is like, you're ruling that out pretty early, aren't you?
all right. Well, things
Continue.
could get out of hand. Things could get out of hand. But,
Speaking of two faces. Continue.
Yeah. So but we have the Patreon. We have charismatic leaders.
What's that Patreon?
The Patreon is www.patreon.com/wearetheworst.
That was
Fair
her
enough.
radio voice.
I loved it. It was beautiful. Well done. That was well practiced.
Thank you. I do it every week.
Fair.
So, is it that cult leaders are necessarily charismatic, or is it just that people who aren't charismatic don't make for good cult leaders? Like
People who aren't charismatic don't make for good cult leaders.
Yeah.
Although there are some cult leaders where you're like looking at them and you're like, what the fuck? But then again, you don't hear them talk because it's in the past.
yeah,
They have to
So-
build up to it.
Yeah, that cult leader, the Nexium cult leader, what was his fucking name?
You think I have a memory for that? What's wrong with
Goddamn
you?
piece of shit.
Nexium, like the drug?
Yes.
Okay, tell
but
me.
it's spelled N. How does it spelled? NXIVM. Oh.
It had the Superman
Yep.
girl.
Allison
who's-
Mack
Yes.
was in this cult.
How come everything relates back to Superman? That's the one
love
movie you've
Superman.
seen.
She's a superhero fan.
I love Marvel and DC and all of that, but no, I have seen other movies. Thank you, like Deadpool. Continue.
With David Spade, right? Yes. Yeah, got it.
That was David Spade? Cool. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Great.
Oops. Sorry.
What was I talking about?
You guys have a cult.
Cults.
So-
Charismatic leader. You have to be charismatic.
Oh,
to
right.
be a cult.
Nexium. So that was the that cult was broken up very recently, within the last 3 or so years. But they were a sex cult, of course. But they were only allowed to have sex with the leader, and the leader would starve them. Like he made these women lose so much weight because he really liked very thin women. So they were on like very restricted
600 calories?
600 calorie a day diets.
Jeez.
The women were branded.
what?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so this is a bullshit cult. And you look at this dude, and I haven't heard him speak, and I don't want to hear him speak because he's a fucking piece of shit. But you look at him and you're like, how did you get women to have sex with you, let alone follow you in this goddamn cult?
He looks like a ball sack, guys. He's really ugly.
Like a skinny little ball sack.
So it's all mind games.
Yeah. So, I guess charisma doesn't necessarily come through in pictures, I would say.
That's why I podcast, see?
Yes.
So I think one aspect of cults is that they're easy to get in, hard to get out.
Yes.
Is that the way to put it?
Yep. So a big aspect of cult is you get isolated from your family and friends. You're not allowed to communicate with people outside of the cult a lot of the times. And so because you get so cut off from everyone outside of the cult, your only support network are the people within the cult. And so if you try to leave, you have nothing outside of it. So it's very difficult. And that's the same for a lot of religions as well. I've known people who were Mormons, and luckily, like, they didn't get cut off from their families. But a lot of the tenet, like in Mormonism, is if you leave the religion, you're supposed to get shunned.
Yeah. And same with I think classical Judaism.
Oh,
Like-
really?
Like so the Amish people. So those are I don't know how to put it.
Mennonites.
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 Yeah, so they are very traditional Jewish, like practicing, and so if you relieve the religion, essentially they will excommunicate you. Like you can't come back.
Right.
And I think there is a period where they can actually leave, and then they can choose whether they come.
Rumspringa.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, so they can come back, but if they don't come back, they're just gone.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever seen that show Breaking Amish?
I feel like I have. I feel like I saw an episode of it way back.
It's garbage and I love it. But they're so wholesome
They're
in their
innocent.
Rumspringa. Like they have a drink and they're like, oh, we're having alcohol. And I'm like, yes, you are.
I think there's a couple of different sects, not just Mennonite. I think that's like the biggest major one, right? But I think there's a couple others. I met some Amish guys at a conference I went to one time I worked for a roofing company, and they had a roofing company, and I didn't realize they were Amish. And in a breakout session, somebody had said, or, you know, if you don't have access to the internet or electricity or something, I'm like, how could you, and I said out loud, like, how could you run a business nowadays without internet? I feel like that's impossible.
Yeah.
And like everyone got really awkward about it. And I didn't realize until after, when my boss who was with me was like those guys were Amish, so that could have been seen as really offensive. So like I went after till we were staying at a hotel, and they were down in like the courtyard area. So I went down. I was like, guys, I'm sorry. Like, if I offended you, that was not my intention. I honestly had no idea. He's like, why would I be offended? It was like all about nothing. And then I spent the night hanging out with them.
Oh,
And
nice.
awesome.
That's really cool.
And they're wicked cool, and they're wicked smart, and their drive is insane. Those guys were wicked cool.
Something about, okay, this is off topic, but there's something about people lack appreciation for, say, the average living of, like, say, more ancient people. Like, there's a lot of complexities to that.
Yeah.
And if you're living, say, without electricity, without all these other services, there's a lot of stuff you have to know, and it's an ordeal. And there's so much knowledge and experience, and also there's like hard work involved in that. And it's like people might think that their lives are simpler, which maybe in some ways they are, but I think in a lot of ways they're more complex.
Yeah. I take for granted being able to like just pull up my phone and Google the shit out of something.
Like a cult.
Yeah, like a cult.
Yeah. Or just
so it's
taking a
weird.
shower.
Like, yeah, your story today that she was telling on our actual show took place in 1845, and like that's so hard for me to even comprehend like what that was. Like, were there dinosaurs?
There was dinosaurs.
What did we do before cell phones? Like,
Exactly.
Did we read
like
books?
I've asked. I'm like, what did we do in like waiting rooms and stuff before? Did people like talk?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And now our millennial is showing.
You know what?
It's not true. They had newspapers. They had books. They didn't talk to each other. They're all liars.
It's true. It's true, though. Like, if you look back, I read something where in history, throughout history, people found ways to not talk to each other. Whether it was through reading or doing art or listening to the radio.
Oh, they found ways.
They
'Cause
found ways.
It's draining.
Yeah.
You can't always be talking to people.
It
Yeah.
truly is.
See, I hear this. So that's what introversion, and extroversion is you get charged up being with people. I can't even imagine that.
I find that
can't.
I think I'm more of an ambivert. I know I said I'm an introvert, but
You were like, I'm textbook introvert.
What is this?
I'm okay. Like, there's some times where I'm like, I just want to like go hang out with people.
No, never.
But then like I'll do it. I'll overdo it, and I'll like have two weekends of like hanging out with people like nonstop, and then for 2 months I am in my house.
When I hang out with people, I'm glad I did. Like, usually during and then after, but like I don't want to leading up to it. I'll do anything I can to
yeah,
not
absolutely.
have to.
Dreia and I almost didn't become friends because I didn't want to leave my apartment. So we have a mutual friend that would drag us out every Friday night. And the first couple times I got ready, I was planning on going out. And then I was like, nope. Like, just like 5 minutes before I was supposed to walk out the door, I was like, not happening. And so I had texted my friend and was like, oh, I don't feel well. I have a stomach ache, which was a huge lie.
Yeah, that friend would also be like, bullshit, let's go.
And that's what friends are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first 2 weeks that I was supposed to hang out with her and Dreia, I refused.
Think about that. You missed so much time
I know. 2 whole weeks of friendship.
with your best friend.
I know.
Feeling really loved, guys.
So this makes me wonder, are introverted people more or less likely to join a cult? Because it's going to be hard to get them to join it, but then again, I feel like extroverted people are going to be like more like wanting to be social or wanting to like go out there, but maybe
Depends
they're
on the
better
cult, right?
recruiters.
I think it depends on the cult. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Okay.
There's some
It's-
that are about isolation and some that are about being with people.
Yeah.
And it's going to be whatever tenets resonate with you, because all cults have some sort of tenets.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Okay, if you could create your own cult, what would it be around?
Cats.
Cats?
They did this. No,
We
this
have
isn't
our
an if.
cult.
A better cult.
Oh, you haven't even heard the truth about this one.
Okay, what is the truth?
do whatever the fuck you want and also have a cat.
That's a terrible cult.
That's a pretty good cult. And so if I'm following those tenets already, am I in the cult?
Welcome to our cult.
Welcome.
Without realizing I was in the cult.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're now part of the cat cult.
So it's less about like seeking it out, more about like living
It's
it.
enlightenment.
Yeah. Live
I
your
see. Now I have the knowledge that I'm in the cult.
live your truth with your cat.
Okay. It's getting a little weirder. I feel... Is this what you're talking about? Is it slowly twisting?
Don't worry, I'll get my hooks in you.
Okay. Is there a Facebook group I can follow for that?
We Are the Worst, the
Okay.
podcast.
Oh my god, and I was following that too.
All about
Man,
enlightenment.
Nate, they had me and I didn't even know.
Oh god.
That's what happens.
So
This
our
is wild.
Patreon. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
All right. So it's $1 or more, and that's all you have to do, and you're done.
Yeah, and then you're like officially part of it.
Okay.
Nice.
We
And
give you
also-
nothing in return. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You should listen to what we say and then believe in what we say.
But you do give me more in return. There's truth out there on Patreon locked behind that $1.
That's true.
That's true.
It's very true.
But that's probably like the most important stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Like only the privileged get to even have access to that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
One more time that link.
Patreon.com/We Are the Worst.
I'm really excited, Nate. I think I'm in a cult.
We should have a ceremony.
Oh.
Was it when I was in high school?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was a fucking shitbag back then, dude. Yeah, I definitely did that.
Wait, was this 15 minutes later?
Yep.
At least. At least.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Okay. I understand so much now.
it was with your. So let me be clear. I didn't want to name the name of the person
I am-
because we got in trouble for that recently.
I understand. I understand now.
It was your first.
No, I already got that, Nate.
okay.
We're past it.
Okay,
now.
it was your first girlfriend.
No, I was definitely a shitbag. That was really bad.
Okay, but like in high school, everyone's a shitbag.
Okay, so I wasn't being like a dick there. I mean, maybe for airing that
Well,
out.
I mean,
but-
you were publicly shaming me, but I
wasn't
deserve
shaming
it,
you.
so it's okay.
No, I wasn't shaming. Okay, I don't think that was real though.
Oh, you think that that's
It was in
my
your
psyche.
brain?
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
I feel it was in your brain.
Oh,
So,
boy.
like,
Is what I was trying to say.
You just really liked the attention because you were a high school boy, and that's a normal thing for a high
Interesting.
school boy.
And it felt wrong for whatever reason. Kind of like when you think everyone hates you, even though that's not true.
So every moment of every day. Got it.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't saying it was wrong or anything. I don't know.
There, before we wrap up here, because I know that's where we're heading. There was one thing like, so we're talking about like introversion, extroversion, and like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that comes down to like energies, and like the place I love being, I hate going, but love being extroverted at is like a house party. When I was in college, that was the place that like the energy in those rooms was. I haven't felt it anywhere else. Like it's just like pure, like people just enjoying themselves, and not having a single fuck.
Right.
That and when we went to the Pink Floyd cover band concert, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
Those guys were awesome.
I'm gonna make up my own cult now.
Do
okay,
it.
do it.
Okay, so
We're probably already in it. I'm in it, right?
yeah. So this cult, you guys know about Bitcoin?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm just coming up with this on the fly. So the cult is there's some whole mythology about say how this thing was created and everything, but there's gonna be a chosen one, right? And so what you have to do in this cult is you have to transfer your Bitcoin into this one address, right? And no one has the key to this address, so this money, just all these Bitcoins just go to this like locked address.
The
and no one-
singularity.
yeah, the singularity. So it actually just accumulates more and more and more. But the one chosen one is the person who can find the key to this this address, and that person becomes the leader of So there's like essentially the address is the god, but the chosen one to lead the people is the one who gets the key to the address,
Okay.
and they get a fuck ton of Bitcoin too. So there's that.
So this is like
The
this
hacker
is like,
that rules them all.
modern day King Arthur
Yes.
mixed with the hero's journey.
I call being Merlin.
Essentially, the one person who can figure out how to do this will have such a good expertise in hacking or knowledge or something, because it takes like the whole age of the universe to essentially crack a Bitcoin address. So one of these private addresses. So that person should be the leader of humanity.
Okay.
Oh,
what if that
we went humanity. We didn't even go cult.
Okay. Yeah, no. So,
The ultimate cult.
so this is literally a hero's journey. You're doing a hero's journey.
And many people can try to ascend, but only one will ascend.
I see.
It could be the whole age of the universe before you find the one, but the one will be chosen. And the one will be all
But-
for us.
Well, how will we know that they're worthy of leading humanity just because they could crack a code?
Because it's foretold in the prophecy.
Oh. Well,
There's an old book that says it, so it's true.
Okay.
okay.
Is it the Bible?
It's a Bible.
It's a Bible. All right.
But what you know about the Bible is totally wrong.
No.
And Satoshi said, one will find the key. The key will unlock the gold, the Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin will flow out into the world. And so will this person's knowledge, wisdom, and excellence. And you should follow that, not because they have all that Bitcoin, but because they cracked the coin.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Wonderful.
See, this is something I can get behind.
Poetic.
So where do I transfer all my Bitcoin, do you Nate?
So it's going to be address 11145678 dash symbol and dash symbol, not like the dash symbol, but dash and symbol.
Like
just
the
written-
words?
Yeah, the word symbol, yeah.
But written phonetically.
And 4.
Perfect.
It sounds like you made that up.
Oh, well, that's my Bitcoin address. So,
Oh, okay.
So are you saying that you're the chosen one?
No, I just had to get the proceeds. And until then,
Until then, you get to spend.
I can't say there will be any Bitcoin left, but, if you get into it, hey, have what's there.
Better start trying.
There it is.
Great,
There it is.
great.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Yeah,
this
thanks
was
for
awesome.
having us. This is awesome.
You guys we are the worst, and that is an amazing show. I'm a huge fan, and I think everyone should go check it out, go listen, and tell me I'm right, because it's obvious.
It's because he joined our cult now. He has to say nice things.
That's
That's-
a win-win situation.
Yeah,
it is.
You get to be told you're right, and we get listeners.
It's
Perfect.
beautiful.
Great. I love it. I love it.
Can I join the cult of, cats but not dogs?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
I'm in.
you can have a cat and do whatever the fuck you want. You can have a dog and do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you like one of the two,
Okay.
or llamas.
Wow.
Thank you.
I think he wants a
Okay.
cult that's specifically against dogs, though.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm out.
We don't want you.
See, I'm glad I clarified, because we almost had some riffraff in.
Yeah. Like we don't need this riffraff.
We found our third in command.
It's hey guys, welcome. We are the worst.
And we need to talk.